Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be setting up my bullet journal for March. I'll be using 5 Archer and Olive acrylograph pens in my setup today. I'm using the yellow that I used in January and the pink that I used in February, and adding 2 new colours for March, a lovely aqua green and a pale blue. I'm also using a brown as an outline. These are all 0.7mm nibs, so much thinner than what I've been using so far. It felt quite nice bringing in the 2 colours from January and February and combining them with some new ones that made me think of spring vibes. Kind of feels like a smooth transition from winter to spring. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Starting with my cover page, I'm drawing a circle in pencil very faintly to form an outline that I can follow when I draw some feathers, which is going to be the theme for this month. There'll be 3 feathers going around the circle. I'm drawing the outline of the feather with the brown pen, starting at the bottom and creating spikes pointing up until they reach the top, then coming down the right-hand side of the feather. To make it easier to form the shape, you could at first draw an outline in pencil and then keep your spikes within that outline so the feather stays within a narrow triangular shape all the way up. For the first feather, I coloured in the bottom half in the greeny blue. I coloured the tip in the pale blue. The next feather is going to be the pink and the yellow, starting with pink at the bottom. The point at the top is yellow. The final feather is green and blue again. This is the first time I'm using the 0.7mm nib acrylograph pens. They seem to be working really well for smaller designs like this. You just have to remember that when the colour starts to look a bit faded, you have to shake the pen and activate it by pressing down on a piece of scrap paper until the ink flows through. I'm finishing off the circle with a simple branch which I thought would look nicer than feathers all round. It kind of adds a nice touch. What do you think? Would you have gone feathers all round? Next I have my quote page. I'm using my grid spacing ruler to divide the page into quarters with a pencil to leave a thick border around the edge of the page. So the top and the bottom rows are a quarter of the page and the sides are too. And like I've been doing all year, I'm going to pick one of the reminders from my reminders page that I set up in my 2021 setup video. I'll write up the reminder in the box in the middle. For March I chose small steps add up. I've been needing this reminder all year actually because I've only been able to do small things when I find time to, and it's been good to see that it does add up eventually. Not everything needs to add up to something. There are plenty of things that we do in a day for enjoyment or necessity, but there are things that you want to add up. Like with my weekly YouTube videos, I just did tiny parts every day and eventually the tiny parts formed a complete video to share. I'm drawing my feathers floating around outside the middle box. To make the feathers look like they're floating, you just need to make them follow a curve rather than being straight. You can draw them faintly in pencil first to check that you're happy with how they're spaced out, making sure that some are pointing down and some up. There isn't a particular way to lay them out. I actually think just freestyling it would be fine. On the whole, I tried to have one pointing up and the next one pointing down. But as you can see, they're not all like that, so I don't think it's important. It's just good to mix it up and go with the flow. I added some floating tree branches as well in between the feathers. I realised I made a mistake. I wanted blue-green feathers mixed in with pink and yellow feathers, but I kind of just relaxed into the colouring process and ended up colouring them all in blue and green. I guess it would have been fine to leave it as it is, but I thought I'd take the opportunity to see what happens if you layer one acrylograph pen on top of another. Turns out it's completely fine, so if you want to change the colour of something, you can just go over it with another colour. Or if you're doing a split of different colours, you can easily go over one of the colours if one of them creeps into a space that it shouldn't be in. It's good to know. If you're planning to get acrylograph pens, you can use my affiliate link in the description box or my code Raksha10, which will give you 10% off. I'd definitely recommend this thinner nib if you want to colour in smaller doodles like these feathers and for writing text as well. In the middle of the page, I wrote my reminder, small steps add up. Next up, my monthly log. I sectioned off the sides with a pencil with just a narrow space along the sides. I then drew a few of my feathers along the sides with the mini branches in between. This time I thought I'd colour in the tips for the pinks first, so I remember to change to the blue once I've done those. After they were all coloured in, I went over the outline again with the brown, which made them pop a bit more. I also added some lines inside the feathers and 3 dots on the outside just for fun. I used the brown pen to write March. As you can see, I'm not quite used to using the acrylograph pens for writing, so my handwriting is a bit strange. I then added 2 larger feathers on the left-hand page, which I'll use for my headings for my goals and tasks. I always like to think about my goals for the month in advance. There's usually a few things that I want to remind myself to focus on. Some of you have asked what the difference is between goals and tasks. I use the goal section to kind of focus on a few outcomes I want, like complete a project or read a particular book. They don't even always have to be to complete something, it could be to start something like an online training course that I've been wanting to do. The task section is specific steps or actions I want to take, related to the goals or anything else like admin or buying a birthday present, reminders of things that I need to do in the month so I don't forget to do them. Then when you have your weeklies ready and you're planning for the week, you can just insert these tasks into the relevant day if you know when you want to do them. I wrote down the days of the month on the right-hand page, which I'll use to put in events, birthdays, or when I plan to publish videos and blog posts throughout the month. I don't love how this turned out, but it'll do. It's best not to be too precious about it because the artwork is just for enjoyment, and if you strive for perfection all the time, you probably just find it a lot harder to enjoy it. The next 2 pages will be my simple things list and gratitude log. I'm marking off a strip in the middle to place my floating feathers in. On the left is my simple things list for March. There's a big seasonal change as we enter into spring, so quite a few things come to mind to enjoy and appreciate in March. I'm using my simple things stencil to lay out the list. All supplies are linked in the description. It's not the easiest to draw lines with the pen. You probably just need to make sure you shake and activate the pen before you start so you can get clean lines. I coloured the header boxes in green and blue. I do really like colouring with these pens. Next, I wrote the Simple Things header in block capitals. My Simple Things list for the month is: note the seasonal change outside, go for an aimless walk, enjoy reading the first page of a new book, treat yourself, maybe to a haircut or a new candle, assuming we can get haircuts in March, and write down something you'd like to learn. Also, exciting news, I've decided to start a Mindfulness March challenge on Instagram. I'm going to be laying out some prompts to encourage a tiny bit of mindfulness every day in March. There'll be tiny, simple things. Some will be journal prompts and others will be just a simple moment to appreciate in the day. So if you want to take part, follow me on Instagram where I'll be sharing the 31 days of mindfulness prompts very soon. I'll share a photo every day related to the prompt, and if you decide to join, you can share your photos too, on any of the days at any time. It doesn't have to be on the specific day either. I think it's just as valuable seeing it on any of the days. Use the hashtags Mindfulness March and Reflect with Raksha. I added my feathers in the strip that I penciled in on the middle of the page. The handy thing about this layout is you've just decorated both pages in one go. My gratitude log is on the right. I always keep this one simple with just a header. The rest will take shape as I complete the log throughout the month. This spring, I'm focusing on dedicating some time to learning. There's something about spring that feels like a fresh start and time to try some new things and learn new things. I divided the page into quarters using my grid spacing ruler for a growth spread that I'll be setting up every month. The 3 sections are for reading, doing, and learning. In the read section, I'll put in one book I plan to read. In the do section, I'll put in something I plan to do for growth. It can be fun things to learn or useful things that I feel I need to learn. So it might range from playing a song on the keyboard or cooking a particular dish to learning how to use some software or how to draw something in particular. The learn section is specifically for classes I want to take online. I plan to take 1 class on Skillshare a month based on what I feel like learning. So I'm really excited to tell you that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people to explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. What I really like about Skillshare is that there's a class for pretty much anything you could be interested in, like creativity, mindfulness, productivity. A class that I really enjoyed was Writing for Self-Discovery, 6 journaling prompts for gratitude and growth. It was a class by Yasmin Cheyenne. It was a 1-hour class and I got so much from it. Yasmin starts with an activity where you break down your day into a pie chart to see where your time goes. Then there were some really interesting journal exercises that actually felt really therapeutic to do, and she shows you how to use some of those to build on the pie chart and get more of what you want out of your time. She explores prompts related to desires, regrets, our perception of success and happiness, and so much good stuff for us to do in our bullet journals. I definitely recommend this class. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of premium membership, so you can explore your creativity and take this class and it won't cost you anything during the trial. The platform is curated for learning, so there aren't any ads, and they're always launching new premium classes, so you can stay focused and just follow wherever your creativity takes you. If you decide to continue after your trial like I did, it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. The class that I have my eye on for this month is Everyday Minimalism, Find Calm and Creativity in Living Simply, so I'll let you know what that one's like after I've done it. Next I have my mood board. I found some pictures on Pinterest to bring spring to life, which is always a really effective way to get in the mood for the month ahead and set yourself up to get what you want from the month. On here I have picnics, alfresco dining, spring fashion, campfires, Easter eggs, and berry picking. Finally, we have my first weekly spread for March. I'm of course using my grid spacing ruler to set this up nice and fast, dividing the page into thirds. I want lots of planning space to start the month off with, so I'm adding a column to the sides to give me the space I need to capture weekly goals and tasks. On the left-hand side, I just put in March and the dates. Sometimes I like to add a mini calendar here, but I thought I'd just keep it simple today. I then added some feathers to the side panels too. I didn't want to add too much because the spread will get quite busy once I'm using it. On the right-hand side column, I have kept space to outline 3 simple goals for the week and some tasks. Finally, I'll add the days of the week. I decided to alternate between the colours to see what that looks like. I don't usually like going crazy with colour, but because these colours are quite inoffensive, I don't really mind it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Here's the final flip through. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over on Instagram or in my next video.